equal to, or better than, we go back to the drawing board. And sometimes you have to go back to a product photographer. Not in a lot of cases. Usually we're covered off, but it's with the package, without the package, a different camera angle. Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing accelerating your business through customer insights. We'll talk about ways to increase current sales using customer insights. What are some of the ways you can help beat the competition, and how you can help with choosing better products. Welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. All right, accelerating your business through consumer insights. Very important. And today, our guest is a repeat guest, a returning guest, is co-founder of PickFu, a polling platform anyone can use. It gets fast, free, or not free, but gets fast, reliable feedback from real people. We love it. We use it. We support it. Anyways, with degrees in computer science and strong product background, he has a passion about building systems to help other people succeed. When not building PickFu, he shuttles his kids around in his dream car minivan. Please welcome back John Lee right after our sponsor. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by SureGo Marketing. Ready to take your brand to the next level on TikTok and Instagram? SureGo Marketing specializes in helping entrepreneurs and coaches build profitable brands on TikTok and Instagram, and in less than 90 days. With SureGo Marketing, you can build your brand, create incredible video content, and increase leads without spending a single dime on ad spend. Visit SureGoMarketing.com today and elevate your brand. Now, let's get back to the show and enjoy the episode. There he is.
Hey, Norm.
How's it going, John?
It's good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no problem. I guess, a lot has changed since we talked last, and I'm talking about AI. It's just all over the place, and
can't avoid it.
How is it affecting your business?
It's actually been good for us. I think we use AI internally as a tool to sort of help streamline our business processes. And, we've actually leaned into it and actually incorporated AI into the PickFu platform as well.
And how can that, like, if I go over to PickFu right now, and I want to do a poll, whatever it is there any element of that that's AI? Like, can you select a better audience, or?
Yeah. So, the PickFu promise is that it's real. We're providing access to real consumers that will never change, right? In fact, I think since we've last spoken, we've expanded our panel and our reach to over 10 million consumers in the US and 5 million internationally. And I can talk more about that later. So the PickFu promise number one is that you're going to reach real consumers and get insights directly, high quality insights and responses directly from real consumers. Now, what we can do with AI is that we can use AI to help streamline that process. Because on PickFu, you can now run polls between 15 to 500 people, right? 15-person polls if you want a quick gut check, 500-person polls if you really want to sort of lock down and get maximum signal on whatever it is that you're trying to test. But the thing is that if you're running a poll to 100, 200, 500 people, you're getting detailed written responses from everyone. That's a lot of stuff to read through.
Right.
And so, and one of the things that PickFu is always great at is getting those insights really fast, right? I mean, we have polls that finish in under 30 minutes. So it might take 30 minutes for your poll, but it might take like an hour or two to read through 500 responses. So what we've done is we've actually built AI into the poll results so that we're using AI to read all those responses from the consumers, summarize them, and do all kinds of interesting things. So we have an AI summary, which will read all the responses and put out an executive summary, like an executive brief about your poll results. 3 paragraphs, you know,
Oh,
read it and you're done. If you're comparing things on PickFu, if you're comparing, you know, you can put up one thing and just get open feedback. You can compare up to 8 things. If you're comparing things, our AI will read through all the responses and break out the pros and cons of what the panelists thought of every single option. So if you're comparing 3 things, you'll see option A, pros and cons, option B, pros and cons, option C, pros and cons, all pulled from the responses that our panelists gave.
that is fantastic. That was one of my questions, you know, if you were doing that, because yeah, it's a lot to read. But for those of us, so I know some of the people on here know PickFu. We talk about PickFu on a regular basis, but for people who are just joining for the first time, new to Amazon, what is PickFu and why is it important?
Okay. So what is PickFu? PickFu is a consumer research platform that anyone can use to reach out directly to your target consumer audience and get feedback about the stuff that you're working on right now in your business, right? So it's not about broad market research reports like women prefer, you know, the trend for this season is whatever. It's literally, I have this product, I have this packaging, I have this image that I'm trying to optimize. I have this creative decision I'm trying to figure out. Can I get my target audience to come and give feedback on that thing that I'm working on right now? And so it's equivalent of like if you were to go to a coffee shop and ask random strangers for unbiased feedback, it's like that, but you know, easy to use, online, private. Everyone, all our panelists agree to an NDA, and so in under 5 minutes, you could be up and running, setting up a poll, putting in your images, text, video, audio, whatever, put it out to the audience, get results back in like 15 minutes. Now, why is it important? It's because, you know, like you said earlier about your gut, like people learn to trust their gut, but sometimes your gut is lying to you when it comes to creative decisions, when it comes to what your target audience might want. Because if you're selling on Amazon, like most likely you are not your target audience, or maybe you're your target audience initially, but then you move on to other products and so on, or in a different category, and you are not your target audience. So if I'm selling baby goods, you know, or if I'm selling pet products, but I don't have a pet, I don't know what pet owners are really going to respond to. But with PickFu, you can go and pull pet owners who are Amazon Prime members and really get their feedback about your products, your images, and so on. And that can make a huge difference in your business.
Right. And they're not receiving the product. They're looking at images or looking at the titles or looking at or
Right.
answering questions that you pose to them.
Good point. Yes. This is all virtual. So it's not, you're not sending product. PickFu is the platform. We will you upload images or text or audio or video. We will put that up to those panelists. They will respond really quickly and you will get results super fast.
And also to the listeners, I know I talk about not pitching. All right. We don't pitch products here or pitch apps, but when the app is really the only one on the market, you know, and there are some other apps, but PickFu is sort of the leading provider in this niche. We're going to talk about PickFu. So, anyways, I just wanted to let you know that's why we're talking about PickFu. We're going to be looking at a few polls that John made up for us today, and so John, if you do have any polls, just make sure you describe them because this is a podcast.
Yeah, great, awesome. I mean, so I have a couple of different polls that I can share.
Sure.
Honestly, like I think the most important thing is that it is important to test before you invest, right? Like
very important,
right? And so whether it's with PickFu or some other solution, like it can make a meaningful difference in your business. So here's a handful of polls that I have pulled up. Are you able to see my screen?
Yep, perfect.
Great.
Looks great.
So we're looking at a pretty straightforward PickFu poll here, set of poll results. It's comparing 2 options. These are main images of a 3-piece 1-pound bread baking set. So 3 pans for 1-pound loaves. And it's a straightforward A versus B comparison, right? On option A, we have 3 pans that are laid out sort of diagonal, side to side, at an angled shot. And then on option B, it's more broken up. You know, you have a sort of zoomed in vertical picture of one pan, and then two other pans on the right side, one with a loaf in it. In fact, both images have one pan with a loaf in it. Now, the question here, which display of bread pan, sorry, we're not selling bed pans here, is more attractive for you to click? Please kindly provide the reasons. Here, the user was asking 50 US respondents who are Amazon Prime subscribers. Now, this is a pretty straightforward PickFu poll. I'd like to call out that I think looking at the results, this finished in under 17 minutes. So this is super fast. And what you're seeing is you get the votes, right? Like 40 to 10 voted for option B. So this is an overwhelming victory for option B. And again, you get the detailed written responses from every single person. Now here's the AI summary that I was mentioning earlier. So this AI summary that I'm showing here, this is AI that's summarizing those 50 US Amazon Prime members' responses.
That's so awesome. Three paragraphs. 3 paragraphs,
executive summary, right? Clear that option B is the winner. Talk about the notable aspects of the poll and sort of the aspects of the different options that were meaningful, right, to the panelists, and even giving further hypotheses about different areas to explore, test, and so on. And so this is on every single poll now. And then we actually have a tab where we have even more highlights. This is the AI highlights tab. And we have this AI sentiment here, which is what I was talking about with the likes and dislikes for option A. Option A has a well-organized display, symmetrical layout, clear display, but the dislikes that the panelists have, less visually interesting, doesn't show the different angles, doesn't highlight the depths of the pans, and so on. Oh, there you are. Okay, and then we have the same thing for option B, likes and dislikes, and so on. Actually, you know what I thought was really interesting is that the AI even pulled out a specific comment as a potential dislike for option B, which is someone, I think a commenter said, bread looks more delicious comment.
And it did.
It did. Yeah, the bread did look delicious, but I think the AI called out that this might be actually distracting from the actual display. Yeah.
You know, so, the other thing, and I noticed this from Tom. He just that's AMZ Elite.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the things, let's say I put something in, let's say this was mine, and I was 100% convinced as the brand owner, A was the image and the B was all wrong. I could always go back and do another 50. Yeah. So it's not like if your gut is so strong and it's saying, okay, A is what I believe. I've showed it to my wife. I've showed it to my dog. Everybody agrees that A is correct. And then you get something back that says, oh, it's B. Well, first of all, as entrepreneurs, we have to check our egos at the door.
Yeah.
We're wrong once in a while. And you could always run it again. So exactly. Yeah. And some of the issues, like you brought up, like in this one here, I take a look at this and I go, all right, is the size showing that the size is bigger? Our client, our Amazon customers, and this is a question that you can pose to these Prime users, is that would the size difference throw you off? There are 3 of the same size bread pan, but if I showed you this image, would you complain or would you have a problem with it?
Right. Yeah. And you can, so what you can do is we also do enable doing here it's not, because I'm not logged in and this isn't mine, but we do enable asking follow-up questions to specific respondents as well. So if you want to clarify anything specific there. One other thing I'll call out is that not on this account, but on some AI highlights accounts, we're also playing with the ability to actually chat with your poll. So actually you can ask the follow-up question to the AI about exploring different facets of the data and sort of the responses that that you're curious about.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Cool. I have one or two more here.
Okay.
So this is kind of like a similar, sort of a similar poll like this. So this is more about potential product selection, right? These are 3 different products. If you're selling like a baby book, there's, you know, that you have to make a decision between what baby book to stock, right? And so obviously these are all first one little year designs. Design matters a lot. And again, better to test before you invest, like before you put out a purchase order. I mean, you like your gut and your family might like that option A, our little one's first years on the left, but it's better to test with your target consumer audience. So here it's a 3-person poll. It's a ranked poll. So we do ranked choice voting in terms of every panelist will choose 1, 2, each option will rank them 1, 2, and 3. That gives us more data and more ways to show that the winner, option C, is the most preferred option among this panel of people. And again, we have the AI summary, option C being the winner. And again, we have the AI highlights of the likes and dislikes for option C. So if we've heard a lot of really interesting stories from some users about them using PickFu to validate and choose their products.
Yeah.
And either helping, it's a nice way to choose a product and have more confidence that, like in this case, if you're ordering and you order option C, you can be a lot more confident that it's not going to completely flop. At least it may not be a bestseller. There's no guarantee about that. There's all these other factors in play in Amazon, but it probably won't flop due to the design of the product itself, right? And I was hearing from a new seller recently. You can go really deep and get really customized with the things that you're testing. So I actually heard about from a seller recently who he had this idea for a unique toilet paper roll. It's like a toilet paper roll, like a toilet paper holder plus. And special design added another feature or another level of convenience to the product. But he needed to have it at a specific price point in order to make the margin that he wanted, right? He had found a supplier. He knew that that's what he was wedded to this idea. And so he actually went on PickFu and actually ran a poll to test, like what different pricing points for this idea. Like, hey, here's a question. I have this product. Here's what it's going to do. And here's how it's going to be unique. What's like the lowest price that you'd be willing to pay, or the highest price? I forgot exactly what it was. And overwhelmingly, the price point that the audience chose was not the one that he needed to actually turn a profit. And so he came to us and he's like, well, that was my first time using PickFu, but I love it because that just saved me like $5,000 of a failed launch, right?
Yeah, that's a really great option. A lot of people just think of going over to PickFu and its images, and that's not the case.
No, it's definitely not the case. He had written text about each thing, like each option, right? Like, would it be like $9.99 or $15.99 plus this add-on, right? So testing sort of price points and packages as well is like a really interesting way, is a really interesting use.
The other thing is aesthetics. So I talk about taking all of your slide deck, taking a snapshot, arranging them, and seeing which looks best. So, white picture, dark, white, dark, white, dark, or white and then all dark. These are all little things that can add up and give you an extra half point or an extra percentage of sales.
I have another interesting story from another seller. He was mentioning that he was struggling to rank on his keywords, on like certain keywords that he was targeting. And he tried all the normal solutions, and then he actually came to PickFu, I think he ran 5 tests, about $100 each. And it was competitive testing. So it wasn't just my image versus my alternative main image, right? It was my image versus the category leaders for those keywords, like for the group of keywords that he was trying to rank, like get a better ranking in. So he ran 5 tests against the category leaders, iterated on his image until he got to an image that was consistently beating, or at least, performing better against the category leaders.
Yeah.
Changed it. And I think within 2 weeks, without changing anything else, he was getting, not only was he getting better sales, his product was ranking higher for those target keywords, because Amazon knows that Amazon's tracking the click-through rates, like on the search results, right? And so if you have a better looking image, if your image is satisfying the needs of the consumer more frequently at a higher rate, Amazon will put you higher for those keywords that the users are searching for.
Wow. All right. I see you have one more. Well, why don't we do this?
Yeah.
Why don't we just it's the bottom of the hour. And at that time, if you're new to the podcast, we have a giveaway at the top of the hour, called the Wheel of Kelsey. So today, John's giving away an incredible package. And if you're interested, it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people. You'll be entered a second time. But John, tell us about what you're giving away today.
Yeah. So, we love Lunch with Norm. We love you guys. And I'm not just saying this because we're here, love seeing you guys at events and so on. So we're happy to give away $300 of PickFu polling credit to one, I guess, lucky winner of the Wheel of Kelsey.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So if you've never used PickFu, this is a great chance for you to use it and see how advantageous it is. You can't launch a product, or you shouldn't launch a product without checking your gut. And PickFu's the right answer for you. And we don't have an affiliate, but we do we love the product, or the app. Anyways, if you're interested, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you will get a second entry, $300 credit. So that's awesome. All right, so let's go over to a sponsor and we'll come right back. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by Jeff Schick Legal. Amazon suspensions are very real, but how do sellers like us protect ourselves against these costly suspensions without spending thousands of dollars? For a very low monthly retainer of just $89, get full access to Amazon attorney Jeff Schick. Mention Lunch with Norm and receive 50% off the first 2 months. Visit jeffschick.com today. That's JEFFSCHICK.com. Now let's get back to the show. All right. And I know you have one more to show us.
Yeah. It's actually 2, but it's about showing off the examples of competitive testing in different ways that you can do so. So obviously you can grab your images of your main, your product and your competitors' products, put that up here, and you can run a standard image test, and obviously get the results here. We have a tool called the Amazon Mockup Generator that will actually mock up a Amazon search listing, and you can find the Amazon listings of your competitors, put that up, throw them in a poll, get that feedback too. And then the other thing, you can also do it a third way, which is a click test. So you could literally take a screenshot. So this is one thing that we do offer on PickFu. You can take a screenshot of the search results. I mean, I don't know whose product is here, but you can take a screenshot of the search results, put it up there, and literally ask people which product they would click on by actually having them click on it. Again, what you can, every single person who does click does give written responses, as you can see, and also down here as well. The other interesting thing about this one is that as you might have noticed, it's an image of Amazon search results, but the question is in German. And that's because we do have an audience in Germany, UK, Australia, and Canada. So if you are selling in a different market, you are definitely not the target buyer there. And different markets have different buying patterns. And so if you are thinking about expanding into Amazon Germany and so on, great option here. You don't have to know German. We will auto translate your English question into German to ask the panelists. You can see the original German answers once they load here. Again, I don't know German, so I have no idea what this is saying, but we auto translate those native German responses back into English for you as well.
And I think it's really important that just living in Canada, I know that Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal, completely different cultures.
Yeah.
Completely different. And if I'm doing anything in Montreal, I just know it can't be the same thing as I'm using in Toronto. Now, in Amazon, Amazon.ca, it's a different ball game. We can't really split it up that way. But if I'm going to France or if I'm going to Germany, this is you might be looking at these images that you're using in .com and you're wondering why it's not moving. Well, because you're not hitting the culture.
Exactly.
And this is another great way to just test it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was great. All these examples were fantastic.
Cool.
So let's go back. This is a really basic question, but still want to hear the answer. How does this increase your sales?
Okay. So on Amazon, having a better image in those search results will lead to more clicks from your potential buyer, because on Amazon, people aren't searching for brands. They're searching for products. They're searching for product types, right? Like a walker, a nutritional supplement, like a tea kettle or a teapot, right? So having the image, the listing, the title that gets more clicks will lead to more sales. We regularly see PickFu optimizations just by optimizing the main image. Our users are telling us that they're regularly seeing session increases of 15% or more just by switching the image. And that's before optimizing the listing with like testing bullet points and secondary images and A+ content and all of that other stuff.
Yeah, when I'm looking at my competitive analysis, I always use the Brady Bunch strategy. So that's putting my product in the middle and surrounding. Yeah. My product's always Alice. So
always looking.
Always Alice. Yeah, looking around.
Yeah.
But I can take up to 8 images. I can take the Brady Bunch, and I can compare them. And I always say, if we're not equal to or better than, we go back to the drawing board. And sometimes you have to go back to a product photographer. Not in a lot of cases. Usually we're covered off, but it's with the package, without the package, a different camera angle, a different type of lighting. It could be a lot of different things. And it might be, so let's say you have a cylinder, like a supplement bottle.
Yeah.
Maybe it just doesn't have the proper lighting. Maybe the comments are it's too flat. Or it could be that it looks like some amateur took it. Well, you have to go and do some post-production work, go to Photoshop and clean it up, or possibly do a 3D rendering,
or AI.
AI. Yeah. If you don't beat that competitor, or if you're not equal to, or you don't beat it, forget it, because you're just not going to win the game. That's the first thing that's going to get somebody to get over to your listing.
I have one thing to add to that.
Sure.
Speaking of nutritional supplements, we have a lot of large nutritional supplements sellers on the platform. And one of the things that one of them does is they start from the end. So they actually start with the packaging and start with the listing image before they're even creating the product. And so in terms of going into a category, they will go and they will pre-render the packaging, the label, the whole listing. Then they create a mock-up, like a search result mock-up, and they already put it against, they pre-test against the existing category leaders on PickFu, and they keep iterating. They haven't invested that much, right? Because it's just a designer iterating.
Yeah.
And then once they win, then they go backwards, and now they know that they can create that product and have a good chance of going strong into that category.
Now that is something outside the envelope. I mean,
It
that is very cool. I've never thought about doing something like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I have a podcast. I learn things.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. Just working backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about this, but PickFu can help you choose better products. Let's go through that process again.
Yeah. So it's almost like what I was just saying, right? It's in that case, it's a very extreme case where they were working from working from their goal, right, of like winning the click and then going backwards because they knew that they had the production capacity to create that product. Most of the time, you're not in control of that entire line of things, right? So, but if you are working with potential suppliers, then definitely PickFu is a great way to get that audience feedback, that target consumer feedback before you're investing in a purchase order, before you've sort of locked down that decision on a product. And so we see this like the really savvy sellers, they start off using PickFu to test their existing listings and optimizing them, but most often than not, they move PickFu earlier in the process for launching and deciding on their next products and SKUs to sell. It's particularly useful if you have variations that you need to choose from, right? Like if you're stocking, say, some kind of stationery, some kind of journaling book, there's only a certain set of designs that you want to keep in stock, that you want to be able to offer. Great way to sort of decide between different variations, price testing as well. One interesting thing that I've seen is that sellers will, if they're pre-testing a product that they're thinking about selling on Amazon, they'll use our mockup tool and change up the pricing, because you can actually change the pricing of that mockup of a Amazon search result and put that up against the category leaders. So the category leaders are out there, they have the reviews, they have the price, but if you can test that if you come in with a good image at a lower price, are you going to be able to win that click from them and increase your chances of success?
While you were saying that, I was thinking about, are there any new features other than the AI, or is there something that we don't know about or we're not utilizing properly on PickFu that you, as the developer, you're saying, oh, we've got this golden, I don't want to say nugget, this service here, and it's not utilized.
I would say that PickFu can test almost anything about your business that faces a consumer, and it's not just for optimizing your main image. It's very good for optimizing your main image, but if you have a DTC side, right, like you have a Shopify site, you can get feedback on your Shopify site. We are coming out with additional poll types and features. Not quite ready to talk about that here, but I think that'll help with additional things, sort of additional ways to test for your business. Test your ads, your copy, pretty much any aspect of your business that's facing a consumer. The other thing that I would say is underutilized are actually small polls, like the $15 ones, right? The ones that get you really, really fast feedback. I mean, it may not be like, you probably want to ask more than 15 people if something's like ready to go live. But if you're iterating, if your designer, your marketer, someone is just iterating on like a small thing, we use those 15-person polls all the time within PickFu to test our marketing, our copy, like our creative.
Yeah, and I can see that for a lot of different things. It could be titles, the way that you're writing a bullet. This is another one, the selection of your bullets.
Yeah,
the first bullet to your fifth bullet.
Yes.
That's something that it's a game changer. How do you keep people engaged, or how it's written? There's so many different areas, but one of the other things, the 15, like you were saying, the 15-person poll is great, but when you're going and you're investing in this thing and you're ready to launch and you're checking everything, it's really that 50 to 100 person pool that is worth it, correct? Like that's where you're getting a really good cross section.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think if you're developing, if you're in the process of creation, then the 15 or 50 person polls are great. If you're iterating, if you're getting closer to launch, then I would definitely recommend the 50, depending on sort of how much validation you want, the 50, the 100, the 200 polls before going out to launch.
Okay, we've got a couple questions here,
Sure.
but we've got a ton of people listening. And this is where you can ask John any question you want. There's no wrong questions. So, or comments. So if you're using PickFu, we'd like to know, what are you doing? Are you using these polls and surveys? Anyways, let us know. Throw in some questions. We've got a couple here. Kelsey, do you want to ask John what we have so far?
Yeah, so the first one is just a comment from Marcia, a PickFu user. She says she loves PickFu. It helps her narrow down designs on her custom engraving program, and it's been so helpful.
We love you too. any product that has any kind of personalization options. Yep.
All right.
And let me see. From Neil, I ran a poll and people said they loved my product and wanted to buy it. Is there a way we can facilitate a sale through PickFu with a coupon code for people that they say they want to buy our product or not?
Yeah. Great question. It's not the first time we've been asked this. It's not currently on the product roadmap. I would never say never.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure you run this through I guess compliance, right? It's really tricky because you're a specialist in polling. When you cross over, it becomes a whole other business model.
Yeah.
And anyways, it would be a little bit tricky, but let me know if you ever do, because that's actually
sure.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Yes.
All right. I think we had from another Facebook user.
Oh, okay. We'll do this one next. Can you repeat that golden nugget from earlier?
Oh, that's working backwards, John.
Oh, the golden nugget. Yeah. Okay. So the story is, large nutritional supplement seller works backwards from the listing image back to deciding whether or not to even sell into that category. So before creating the product, they build the listing image and they test it on PickFu first, but they are very rigorous with it. So they have the packaging, they have the price point, they have the title, they have all of that locked in, and they consistently test on PickFu competitively with existing top sellers in that target category. Two to three of their top sellers in the category, their hypothetical listing. They perfect it on PickFu first, so they know and they are confident that they can get some clicks, not all of them, right? But some clicks from the buyer, from shoppers. Once they validated there, then they go backwards and actually go and create the product, the listing, and decide to stock it and launch it.
It's so brilliant because you're not wasting it into production. You testing it out.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's awesome. Again, that's something I never really thought of doing, and it would save you a ton of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question from Rad. How do we target our products for specific segments of customers with the help of PickFu?
Yeah. So if I'm understanding your question correctly, and please chime in on the chat if I'm getting this wrong. So PickFu allows you to target different audience segments, right? Obviously, if you're selling a dog product, you would want feedback from owners of dogs. That kind of feedback is more valuable to you than someone who doesn't have a dog, or cat owners, and so on. And so when you're building your poll on PickFu, you can choose the audience targeting of the people who respond to your poll. We have over 90 different ways to target. It can be that we have targeting that matches every single major category on Amazon: dog owners, pet owners, home and kitchen, like high activity nutrition, frequency of taking nutritional supplements, all of that stuff. So you can drill down and choose the audience that matches your preferences and the target buyer persona for your product. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do this. So that's just the straightforward thing, right? I'm selling a dog product. So I'm going to run a poll targeting dog owners. You can go about it the other way, right? If you're selling a product that's more general and that's already selling on Amazon, you can go into Amazon and see the demographics of the buyers of your product. And you can use those demographics and try to match those on PickFu to get a better sample size of at least the existing buyers of your product. So that's sort of trick number 2. Trick number 3 in terms of targeting is actually going the complete opposite. So instead of coming in and thinking, I know exactly who I want to target, maybe you have a product that we've all had products like this where, oh, I thought that, I'm selling this baby thing. I thought the target buyer was going to be the moms. It's actually the grandparents over here because they're buying, they're more willing to spend for their grandkids. So they're buying for the grandkids' baby, like birthdays and so on. And the parents are like too busy with like the necessities or something. This happens all the time. So you can test your targeting by going broad instead. You can if you have a product, you can run like 100, 200, 500 person poll, general audience, super broad. And then on PickFu, you can choose what demographic information you want to know about the people who respond. So now you're casting a wide net, right? And you can cast a wide net, get a bunch of responses, then go in and see based on the responses and their preferences, what those demographics are of the people who preferred your product or this version or whatnot. And that's a way of exploration to see if there are maybe potential other demographic segments, audience segments that might be receptive to your product that you may not have thought of.
All right. Perfect. Any other questions come in?
No, I think that's it. Just make sure you enter the Wheel of Kelsey today. You can win a $300 credit for the PickFu polls. I should just add too, so I used PickFu for the first time maybe a year ago, and I was a little intimidated because I've never done any split testing before, but it's super user-friendly. And I think just getting over that first poll and just doing something, whether it's just that 15-person poll, it kind of eliminates that fear. Then you see how valuable it is and all of the different comments that come in. So
I'm curious, so you were new to it, okay? And it was easy to use, like you said. Were there the results that you got, was it like, oh my gosh, or was it okay, this is pretty good? Like, what type of results did you get?
I think it provided just a lot of clarity. Like there was it was between some different products and which ones we should promote first. And it just seemed to kind of give us that bit of confidence that, oh, this one is definitely the winner. And I think everyone was kind of 50-50 on which one we should go with, but then when we did the poll, it was like a resounding like 70 to 30%. So it was just very helpful and kind of let us get to that next stage with some confidence.
Great.
I know for me, we sell soap. So we've got over 100 different scents now, but which ones do we promote? Which would be the top 10 or 20 cents? Or like you said, with the variations, color. You have one color that's selling incredibly well. What do you launch next?
Yeah.
And anyways, I think people again can save a ton of money just by understanding that process. But John, so for people who want to try it out or contact you, what's the best way of getting in touch with PickFu?
Yeah, you can just go to the site, right? PickFu.com. I think you have that up there on the site. It's like Kelsey said, we've tried to build it to be as simple to use as possible so that anyone can use it. We have a great customer success team that can help you out as well if you are having issues. Like Kelsey said, you might be a little intimidated at first. Don't be. We don't bite. It's not hard. Like we're very nice people and we will support you. And we love talking to our customers.
All right. Fantastic. Okay, Kelsey, let's go to a sponsor, and then we'll come back for the Wheel of Kelsey. By the way, if you haven't entered, we're giving away, John's giving away a $300 credit to PickFu, which is awesome. Thank you. And just hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you get a second entry. This is your last chance to enter. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by FBA Philippines. Looking for a high-quality virtual assistant for your business? With the rigorous screening, intensive Amazon and Walmart training, and ongoing professional development, get the peace of mind with skilled and motivated virtual assistants for a long-term working relationship. Hire through FBA today, and now let's get back to the show. All right, we're back. Kelsey, let's run the wheel.
All right, here we go.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
I love that. That's so cool.
There we go.
All right, we got a great turnout today. Lots of entries. And just one thing, we asked our audience if they split tested before, and Neil was saying that he asked if his differentiation would convince the customer, the consumers to buy theirs over the other competitors. So it's a great way.
Great idea.
All right, here we go. We'll shuffle it up, and if you
did you add us in there, Kels?
Am I in there? No.
And let's see.
Steve, Marsha. Oh, there we go.
Right.
Congrats, Marsha. You were close, Steve.
So just make sure you email me, kate@lunchwithnorm.com, to grab your prize. And we do this every episode, so make sure you come back Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to enter again.
All right. John, it's awesome having you on again. Look, I learned something in this podcast. Yeah. I really appreciate it. And man, oh yeah, Steve says so close. But, yes, it was close. Yeah. But anyways, John, thanks for sharing your time with us today. We're going to be removing you. You'll be backstage, and then we'll pop back to talk to you.
Congrats, Marsha, and thanks, Norm, for having me on again.
Want more great information? Don't forget to subscribe by clicking here. Also, if you want to check out our latest podcast, click over here. Lunch with